It's major breaking news. If there's one thing that is never going to end, it has to be drama. Afrobeat comes with a lot of creativity, comes with a lot of bass, but one thing that is very obvious: if drama is not involved, then we're not having a bit or a piece of the cake regarding Afrobeat. Now, guys, before we dive in onto all the bass, everything that's been happening, I just want to say a very big thank you for your support. We see everything that you guys do, your likes, the subscriptions, the comments. We love and appreciate you guys. From the depth of our heart, we say thank you, gracias muchos. And we want to say something, right? We love all the feedbacks that we get, the criticism, everything. It's all part of the thrill. We love it. Thank you so much. We see everything and we're doing everything to make sure that we continue to improve on what we have and to be able to deliver the best of news reportage to you guys. So let's get into it. But like I always say, let me know in the comment section where you are watching from or where you're streaming from so that I can see you and give you a huge shout because you make our community such an interesting one. So thank you so much. And let's just, delve right into it. Like I said, there's major breaking news. Somebody has been accused, a name has been called, or names have been called, or there are speculations, or like the what they say, how do you say it? The usual phrase that we always have is allegedly. There's an allegation, right, against somebody. We're still trying to figure all that. And then we have all that in the news. Asake is in the news, Rema is in the news, and we have Odogu himself, Burna Boy, in the news. So, guys, what's the conversation about Burna Boy? Let's just even go straight into it, right? So, Burna Boy has continued to roll out his album in an amazing way, right? We know for sure, we know for certain that this album is definitely gonna drop. The No Signs of Weakness album. We actually saw the whole tease from 2024, suggesting that he was gonna drop the album, and we did not see the album in 2024, and that album has been shifted to 2025, and it's a good thing, right? It's an amazing thing. So let's just really, really stay with the facts. Is Burna Boy really afraid of dropping projects? Because I remember when it was Wizkid's time, a lot of people had a lot of things to say, like, "Oh, Wizkid, why are you delaying the album?" But he said, "I was going to give you guys Morayo," and Morayo dropped in the later part of 2024. So it was a good thing, and the FCs did celebrate that one. And we see all the successes, everything that's happened with that album, the multiple streams, the breaking the records and all of that stuff, the comparison as well between Davido, Wizkid, the rollout strategy, which was heavily criticized. A lot of people said, what the hell is this strategy of trying to actually demean another artist to get attention to your project? All of that we saw. But for the Odogu himself, ODG, it's kind of like a little bit of a shift because what we saw coming to the later part of the year was him running away from the obvious, right? Saying, you know what? I know that I promised you guys an album. We thought it was going to drop in 2024. It did not drop. And he said, okay, 2025, I'm going to give you guys something special, right? But for what is worth, in terms of delivering solid projects, Burna Boy has continued to deliver solid projects. And this is something that we know is for facts, right? So let's even take a dive, through his journey as an artist, right? So he dropped an album released in 2013, the album called Life, released in 2013 under the Aristocrat group, and then also released on a spaceship in 2015, released Outside in 2018, released African Giant that saw him actually leapfrog to be one of the biggest African superstars in the year 2019. And he said, you know what, in 2020, I'm going to give you guys something to remember. And he said, I'm going to give you guys Twice as Tall in 2020, right? Love Damini Project was in 2022. I told them was in 2023. Now, let's imagine all of these things happening and Burna Boy is saying, you know what, if I actually want to retire, and I think I've actually done my beats for Afrobeats, but he said, I'm not stopping. I'm definitely going to give you guys a project. And the No Signs of Weakness project is definitely going to drop. And this year, we saw how he entered into another zone, a frenzy, like I'll call it. and it was a very, very mixed frenzy. Yeah, like, what's all these? I don't want to use a certain word. Sophia, Abi, what they call her? She entered into the fray. I know by Lambo. Is that why you're shouting? Then they, Oloye. And everybody said, what the heck is this? Are you actually going to go into trolling? And then we thought that was the end of it. But now Burna Boy has actually said, you know what? I am definitely going to take this sound and do a proper song with it. We thought it was just a freestyle, but right now it looks like Odogo has said, you know what, I'm gonna drop this as a proper song. And we saw the teaser for that in the club, and right now he has taken this sound to Obi's house. Obi's house is one of the best places where you want to get like new music and stuff. Shout out to Obi, DJ Obi. And right now, Burna Boy has continued to actually tease this sound. It's looking like it's definitely going to drop first before it's officially actually going to be on the album. We know for certain that it's going to be on the album. So, guys, let's even get into it. Do you guys think that this brother is trying to be too childish with all of these things, or you just feel like it's all part of the thrill? There's really nothing we can do about this one. It's still part of it's just part of the thrill, and Burna Boy is gonna be Burna Boy. But let's be honest, do you think Burna Boy is seeking for attention to get all the talks, all the attention to his album that's gonna drop pretty shortly, or just let us know? Do you think that he's going about this album rollout the right way? Let us know about that, because we are really, really curious to see what this album is going to turn into, because there's been a lot of conversation regarding this album. So if you don't mind, let us know what you think. Do you think that this album is going to be one of the biggest albums to come out of the history, or come out of the space of Afrobeats, with everything that's happening around it right now? Do you think it is a worthy album? Because for what is worth, it's just too much. In my opinion, I feel like there's just too much noise around it right now. But guys, that's your verdict, and we're just gonna take a few comments. Like, your reactions are always top notch. So Emmy says none of your artists in Nigeria has a discography that cuts across different genres like Burna Boy. Sit this one out. That is quite a stern statement. Guys, do you agree with Emmy? Another person says, same pattern since 2019. Same pattern since 2019. Everybody's saying the Burna Boy sound hasn't changed. It hasn't shifted. It's been the same thing since 2019. I don't know how true that is, but it is what it is. And Chris Hall says, Burna will make triple of that Lambo she got. You the wine music money. Because a lot of people are saying that he's just feeding off the energy of the Lambo girl, probably you should have just dropped that. It's a little bit too childish. Why are you using that to now turn into a proper song? We thought it was just like a banter thing, and now you're just gonna milk it. Everything that Burna Boy is doing is just screaming attention. But it is what it is. Burna Boy is just being himself, and he's just seizing an opportunity that's just felt his laps easy peasy. And if I was Burna Boy, I'd probably do the same, I guess. So Safredi says, Sophie, Lord help Burna Boy. Guys, you guys actually, all your comments. Anyways, Sophia, thank you so much for helping Burna Boy. It is what it is, and Burna Boy is milking that one and getting the attention that he deserves on the project. And Ron says, I'm starting to think the P was a stunt. Exactly our thoughts initially when we saw it. Is this some type of like PR strategy to actually get people to have conversations, or is this something that is actually legit? Those were like the initial conversations, but right now I think you guys are actually echoing our thoughts and our reservations. But it is what it is. Let us know if you think that Burna Boy is chasing clouds with all of these things, or you think it's just part of the trail, something that just really happened and he's just gonna thrive off it, or you think he's just being childish to use that. And oh, by Lambo, is that why you're shouting? De. I don't know. Tell me what you think and put your thoughts in the comment section as we move swiftly to the one and only Remy Boy and Asake. If there's one thing that's always been existent in the music industry, especially as it concerns Afrobeat, it will be comparison between an artist and another artist. And of course, we are quite very interested in this debate. thing I can tell you guys for certain is the fact that one thing that will not go away is comparison. And Asake and Remy Boy are in the conversation. They're in the news for this very, I don't know what to call it. I don't want to say unnecessary comparison, but it is what it is. Now, let me just put you guys on the spot real quick. Between Asake and the one and only Remy Boy, who do you think has a bigger or better discography? Because this conversation don't enter gear 4, and it is what it is. Now let's just take a subtle review of probably a Rema style, or what Rema has achieved and what Asake has achieved. I beg your pardon. So their musical style, Asake is known for his unique blend of West African folk elements, Fuji high life, contemporary Afrobeat, amapiano, and hip hop, and all of that stuff. For popularity, Asake has gained 5,160 new Instagram followers on March 3rd, 2025. A 329.3% increase from his usual growth. Now, Asake Mr. Money's with the Vibe dropped in August and was actually well received. It was one of the biggest albums to come out of the stables of Afrobeat. We know how that one panned out, so it was really, really, really tight. Now, for Rema's musical style, his sound is described as contemporary Afropop, incorporating elements of amapiano and hip hop. Popularity, Rema gained 421,000 new Spotify monthly listeners on March 5th, 2025. And that's quite a popularity increase of 22,096.8% increase compared to his usual growth. So in terms of growth, Rema is actually really doing it, if we're really being honest, right? And Rema reportedly earns close to like £3 million. Sorry, I beg $3 million to perform, and all of that stuff. Now, let's put all that comparison aside. I want to ask you guys directly, in terms of discography, in terms of their work, in terms of their albums, in terms of banging hit singles and all of that, do you think that Asake will match with Rema, or Rema will outdo Asake? If you're a fan and you're watching me right now, who are you going to pitch your tent against, or who are you going to pitch your tent with? Because these conversations will never end. Actually, it will never ever end. Now, I mean, for what is worth, that was quite an interesting, tweet on X that we saw, that we decided to actually just read accept, right? So Jaboy says, "Can't lie, Rema and Asake are the leader of the new gen. It's not just about music, but the two of them got the aura and complete star package it takes to lead. Even though Rema is way ahead of Asake right now, but Asake is the next thing close to him." Now, with this statement from Jaboy, what exactly do you think? Are you in agreement with Jaboy regarding the fact that Rema is way, way, way bigger than Asake? Or you think that that's just cap? I mean, Rema doesn't come close to Asake in any way, shape, or form. Because these conversations will definitely, definitely continue. And it's something that we cannot even escape. But in terms of everything that they've done, in terms of actually just taking their craft to a whole new level, I really want to say big ups to Asake, for example, because he left a very, very functional label, the YBNO group, heavily funded, has the massive support of one of the legends of Afrobeat, Olamide Bado himself. And he's actually seen and garnered a lot of success. And he's left that franchise, he's left all that comfort to actually be on his own. That's quite a strange thing to do. And it's been rocky, but he has actually hit the fourth. So I think, in my own opinion, say, this Asake guy is actually trying, because right now Rema is still under the auspices of the Maven group, and actually enjoying a lot of success under a label, not being outside a label before to test it by being on his own. So yeah, let's give credit where credit is due. I think that both of them are actually amazing artists. Let's not be very critical about that. But in terms of who does it better, who has a better discography, that one I'm leaving in your hands to actually talk about, because the numbers are there to prove. The conversations will forever be there. But one thing is, we need to be sure that we're saying the right thing. So if you were going to pitch your tent, would you think that Asake has done so much more than Rema? And I take a comment that we see on YouTube, and it says, but Asake has done more, and that one is coming from Adeyemi Adebisi. Well, it is what it is, Adebisi, Adeyemi. Well, but we think that, both of them have actually, done a bit. They've done well for themselves, and we need to give them credit where credit is due. Anyways, now let's take another comment. And Jeezy says Rema can't have an amazing show overseas without performing Calm Down. But Asake can make the crowd go crazy with anything in his discography. We know that Calm Down is one of the biggest songs that popped out of the Remy camp. And I don't want to say he's lucky, but he's an artist that has actually the mind of the listeners, in terms of actually creating for them. Now, if somebody drops a hit song and the street is feeling it, is it not paying mind to the streets? If it goes overseas and actually does Calm Down, I think that if it does that in Nigeria as well, it's going to be a frenzy. So I don't really see any big talk about that, but it is what it is, and that's Jeezy's opinion about that. And Ghana Style says Rema isn't way ahead, it's just Calm Down, and Asake has a very good discography compared to that of Rema. Rema was lucky though. Anyways, what do you mean by being lucky? Let us know in the comment sections what you think about that. And Jaboy says Ashake's discography is not half as good as Rema's own. Let's be serious, please. And if they go project for project, Asake would win, and that one is from West. Guys, I'm leaving this conversation in your hand because I can't take all this comment. There's so much of it. Would you think that Asake has better discography than the one and only Remy Boy, or you think Rema has done it better and held the fort? Let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section. I'll be right there to respond to all of it. Now back to the breaking news. The biggest news has popped out the scene, and it looks like Reekado Banks has resurfaced to come and drag somebody. And this time around, it is looking like this one is serious. So Reekado Banks took to his ex and said a couple of things, and a lot of people have had their eyeballs popping and saying, who is Reekado talking about? Now let's take a look at Reekado's tweet. Reekado tweeted, and I quote, "One day, I'll take an interview to talk about someone in the corners of the entertainment industry who's either absolutely clueless or plain demonic. Somehow, the brightest budding stars fall in their lap, and either through cluelessness or pure demonic activities, they agree to policies that effectively slow these talents down, and for some other talents, frustrate them out of pursuing their own dreams. One day, ellipsis." Well, guys, this one is actually tough. I'll read it again. "One day I'll take an interview to talk about someone in the corners of the entertainment industry who's either absolutely clueless, playing demonic. Somehow the brightest budding talents fall in their lap, and either through cluelessness or pure demonic activities, they agree to policies that effectively slow these talents down, and for some other talents, frustrate them out of pursuing their dreams. One day, I go talk." Now, guys, if you've read this, if you've seen this, who do you think that Asake, as I beg your pardon, who do you think that Reekado Banks is actually referring to? Now, let's take a nosedive into the history of Reekado Banks with the Maven crew, because one person that readily comes to mind is Don Jazzy. Actually, is Reekado Banks actually calling Don Jazzy out? Don Baba J? Is he actually playing? Who is Reekado Banks actually really referring to? Because if we talk about the heavyweights in the industry in terms of actually grooming artists, Don Jazzy comes to mind, Olamide Bado comes to mind. There's also a Chalk City group who actually, there's been a lot of nice structure around it. Of course, there's Blackbone still heavily represented by the Chalk City group, and of course, I know that Emma Abaga has been doing his beats for that label. So, guys, do you think that Reekado Banks is referring to the one and only Don Jazzy? Because Reekado Banks, before he joined the franchise in 2014, he was formerly known as Spicy, right? And then he got signed to Mavins in 2014, and that relationship ended in 2018. Now, he won the Rookie of the Year at the Headies in 2014. And in 2015, the most controversial awards, he won the Next Rated Awards. And that one, we know how that one panned out between Olamide and the one and only Don Jazzy, and all that. If not the car, collect them or one thing. It was a mess. But in terms of being spotlighted, in terms of actually being helped to climb up the ladder, I think that Mavins did their bit for the one and only Reekado Banks. Now Reekado has actually just um you know come out to say this, and a lot of people are pointing fingers to Don Jazzy. And first, his first studio album, Spotlight, was released in 2016, and that one garnered a lot of success. It debuted at number 10 on the Billboard World Albums chart. So, in terms of actually enjoying structure, relevance, prominence under the Maven flagship, I think that Reekado Banks has actually enjoyed all that. But guys, he has come out to say these things. Who is he talking about? And let's take some comments. And Big P says, when them carry other people award give you, wish to talk. I beg, go sit down. When they carry other people, I know we've touched on this, the controversial Next Rated Award in 2015, that one that happened between him and Lil Kesh. It was a mess, but it is what it is. And Big P is saying, when they carry other people award give you, wish to talk. Oh. Now you they come to talk. Benu Lodge, go sit down. And Mansk says, Oga, till that one day, you still no fit talk when una don't go broke like this. At that time, una go one turn into motivational quote speakers. Now just money you need. Once you get them now, you go even delete this post. I be no be you again. This person seems to know Reekado too well. I don't know how that is true, but this comment is so funny. Anyways, MRI of Abuja says, hope no be dumb Baba J Sha. And Vams says, don't let anyone silence you, please. Talk about it today. Elon Figo carry your account tomorrow. Talking about, okay, if you're a cap, you cap, if you report your account and they're gonna like shut it down. But guys, who do you think that Reekado Banks is talking about? Anyways, Reekado Banks has actually come out to say, it may not be obvious to you all, but I'm definitely not referring to Baba J. Ejo LOL, please and thanks. That said, Olori Buruku Ba. I don't know how to pronounce that in Yoruba, but it is what it is. Anyways, it says, I'm not talking about Don Baba J, and he spoke a lot of Yoruba there that I'm struggling to actually pronounce. But it is what it is, and he has come to clear the air and said, I'm not talking about Don Baba J. Please leave him out of the conversation. It's obviously someone else. So, guys, if it's not Don Baba J, that Reekado Banks is referring to, who do you think Reekado Banks is referring to? Is it Olamide Pajo? Is it the Chuck City Group? Is it somebody else that we don't know in the industry, or somebody that decides to lay low? Let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section. I'll be right there to respond to all of it. Guys, that's all we have for you here on Gusto TV Africa. And guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for sticking till this time. And I just want to say thank you from the depth of our hearts. But please, your comments and your conversations, your thoughts, and your contributions are very much welcome. So want to see all that in the CS. Let us know if you think that Asake is a bigger artist and has more amazing discography, or has a more stable discography than Rema. And tell us what you think about this style of maybe vindictive approach to actually releasing a song, because this whole Lambo thing is actually turning into a whole new song. And a lot of people are saying Burna Boy is becoming too childish. Is he seeking for attention? Is he trying to actually just get cheap clout or whatever it is? But let us know your thoughts in the comment section. I'll be right there to respond to all of it. Guys, we wish all the Super Eagles fans, we reach Nigeria, where I know that they play football right now. We hope that they win so that the country will actually smile again. I will come back tomorrow with the happy faces. Guys, until next time, signing out for way. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Cheers.